The grass is going to be ate over there.
Get started. He's probably going to have some news for you guys. I'll let him do it.
He had to work today. Good morning, everybody.
Yeah. I don't think some of our sites connected. Keysville, are you there? Okay, Nina, you there?
Yeah.
South Boston?
Yeah.
Okay. Keysville, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
I've just
cool.
lost
Okay.
sound for some reason.
Yeah.
John, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Can you hear us? Hello?
John?
Hello,
Hello?
you hear
I
me,
can't
Dwayne?
hear anything.
Your sound sounds bad, too.
Tom, can you hear me?
Yes, John, I
Hey,
hear
John.
you. I hear.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Dwayne, we hear you.
Somebody,
Hello,
the
Dwayne.
sound just went out. I'm going to have to go find some help.
It's always during his class when things get tough.
Monkeys with this stuff. If you just leave it the hell alone. I'm sorry, I shouldn't said it that way, but it's get that point. It's just that way.
Well, I can't say anything because I've been monkeying around over here, and I actually hooked myself up a wireless mic. So.
And what's directed at you? Just at Dwayne's deal.
Yes. Which I think it has to do with the humidity, the rain, and that kind of stuff. Whenever we get that,
Maybe.
seems to be when we have more problems. And John, I'm going to be sending you an email this afternoon. I have a question or two to ask you. It's related to Dwayne's news, but we'll talk.
Yeah, I didn't do anything with that. I'm gonna let him do it.
Yes, me too. But I've got a follow-up question for you. But anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, do you have any idea when you're going to do the plant test?
I do not. I was trying to get through the soils chapter before I did.
Okay.
Was really my goal. Because I have tried to do a representative test using only 4 chapters, and I just falls short on what I want to talk about, test on. So if I include the chapter, it works out. But if we need to do it quicker than that, I will. It's just I get too long-winded on my questions, so.
Well, having one test there at the end, but I don't know.
No, here in October.
Oh yeah.
There was one year I missed some classes and I didn't get it done until November, but that's okay. We'll.
Yes. All right. Now we're on hold now. Anybody heard any good jokes?
Not since yesterday.
Yes, sir. Tom, what are they talking about for precipitation in the south side?
I really don't know. Have you heard anything weather? Which we're supposed to have our Taste of Brunswick Festival, kind of like a fair, supposed to be on our campus Saturday, and they've been dragging their feet on setting things up in case of the rain, but
Yeah.
They finally started setting things up this morning, so maybe they're thinking it won't get here till Sunday.
All right, thanks. Hello, I think we got
Hey, Dwayne.
everything. Think we got everything going now, right?
You
Yep,
hear
we
us,
hear you.
Everybody
Dwayne?
connected?
Yes.
Is everybody connected?
Yes, they are.
All right. Hopefully the sound will hold out. I don't know why it cut out on us. Let's see here. Before we get started, I need to tell you guys a couple things. I got off. I was extended a job offer as a full-time job offer, and I'm just teaching here part-time. And money is a necessary evil, as we all know. We have to have it to survive. So I accepted the position, and I will start the job on October 17th. So what I will do for the rest of the semester is to put the class online, and you just continue to do your labs like you're doing. I'll come up with something for my students, but I'll make the PowerPoints available to you and put some quizzes or assignments and stuff up there for you to do. I was wanting to tape the lectures and post on Blackboard, and I don't know if I'm going to have him to do that. The guy that he's out today, or he's out this morning, but he said he would teach me where he would set it up so I could do it myself. So I may, at night come up here where I have high-speed internet and record some lectures and post on Blackboard for you. Because I don't know if the recordings from last year, the links are on Blackboard, but I think they deleted it.
I think they deleted the tapes, Dwayne. I don't think they're there.
Yeah, I think they deleted the recordings from last year. The links won't work, or I don't think they will work. So anyway, I will the PowerPoint for each chapter available, and I will get like questions to do or into the chapter. You know, we have that's available to us instructors. It's a tracking device on Blackboard, so I can tell when you go on Blackboard. It gives me the last time you actually looked at it for the class, so I can keep up. How often you're how often you're going in there and looking. So, just realize that I know when you go on Blackboard and when you don't go on Blackboard. So anyway, I will begin my job, as I said, next Monday, or a week from Monday, on October 17th. Now, I'll still be available to you guys. You can call me, you can email me, but that first week I will be out of town and I will be in training. So make sure you call after business hours, the week of October 17th. But other than that, if I can't take your call, I'll just leave a voicemail and I will call you back. So anyway, it's exciting for me and it's scary for me all at the same time. Beginning a new career and doing something I've never done before in my life. I'll be doing feed sales. I'll be selling cattle feed and cattle pharmaceuticals. So it'll be interesting. It'll be fun. I think it'll be fun. Get to drive around and go visit farmers. So annoy them. I know how it felt when salesmen came to the farms I was working on, and I thought, man, they're annoying. That's what they'll say about me now. So, not only do I get to annoy y'all, but I get to annoy other people. Right? But y'all pay for me to annoy you. Okay.
Dwayne, one question. Is today the last day of class, or you can actually be teaching next week
No,
as well?
I'll be teaching next week.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a good question. Yeah, I'll be teaching next week. And then, yes, ma'am. You have a
I have a question. Could we get like a could you email us like a blank sheet of like our like where we're gonna have to label the parts and stuff? Could we get like a blank one so we could practice with that one? If you don't mind. Is there any way to do it?
Yeah, I'll try to remember to do that for you.
Thank you.
I mean, like front and back, left and right.
Did you ever get that email that I sent you where you told me to email you the critique of the article? I emailed it to you,
Who is speaking?
Angel Martin Zachariah.
Yes, I got it. I need to
Okay.
put your grade on Blackboard.
Okay. I looked on Blackboard yesterday and the grade wasn't there yet, so I wanted to make sure you got it.
Right. No, I haven't put the grade in.
And I also emailed you my lab too. Did you get that
Yes.
one? Okay.
Well, I got the hammock dairy and another lab you did. Did you turn in your meat lab assignment?
That's what I'm talking about. I emailed it to you, the meat lab assignment.
Okay, I'll look and see. The ones I saw were the other labs. I didn't see the meat lab.
This one was the one where you were talking about going to the grocery store and finding the two different prices. Okay, if you can't find it, email me and I have it on my jump drive. I saved it and I'll just email it to you.
Just do that anyway.
Okay.
Just do it anyway.
Do that anyway.
I'll email it to you again today.
That way the ball's in your court and not his.
Okay. I'll try to email it to you again today. I saved it.
All right. I appreciate it. Any other questions? Okay. We finished up Tuesday the cattle chapter, or the chapter on cattle and the cattle industry and the dairy industry. Did y'all have any questions regarding the cattle industry? Chapter 7. Yes, sir. Genetically, we kind of think so. Reality, sometimes you get the small, sometimes you get the big, but genetically, you think that size factor is going to be diluted down in the big one and diluted up in the little one to get that medium-sized animal.
Probably do it in the LRC.
Yep,
I'll still type.
exactly.
That way you don't have to come in here at a designated time. You can do it on your own.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
So the most actual class you're gonna be the 13th. That Thursday.
I'm not going to disagree with that. That's what the market's dictating right now for cows. So you know, theoretically it's supposed to work that way, but in real life, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. And I know that's not the answer you wanted to hear. You just wanted a simple yes or no answer, and I can't do that. Maybe, maybe not. So it depends. I'll talk to you more about it after class. It may happen. Okay. Let's move on to chapter 8 today, which is about pigs. Does anybody know what October is? I mean, we know it's a month of the year, but you know how there's like national, or there's Columbus Day, there's National Potato Day, all these different days. Does anybody know what's highlighted in the month of October? You're close. It's National Pork Month. So they promote pork a lot in October. Probably because it's, I don't know why, but they do. October is National Pork Month, so eat more bacon and ham. So to begin with, do y'all remember back at the first part of the semester we were talking about the domestication of animals? Do you remember where what pigs were domesticated from? They came from the Eurasian. They were domesticated from wild Eurasian pigs, and they were selected for size and manageability. Any idea when pigs first came to the American continent, and who brought them with them? A little bit earlier than that. Who discovered Florida? Okay, which one? DeSoto. And he brought pigs with him to Florida in 1539. And in the 17 and 1800s, most farms had pigs. And we discussed the reasons why earlier in the semester. You know, they can eat about anything. They're scavengers, and they had litters. And so usually people had pigs. They would slaughter the pig, render the lard for fat, and eat the meat. Now, in the 1800s, when, you know, the corn belt started raising a lot of corn out through there in the Midwest, hog production started becoming focused in the corn belt because that's where a lot of the corn was raised. And now we have a problem with feral pigs. Anybody like to go hog hunting? Anybody been hog hunting? Okay. We do have feral pigs in the United States, especially in the southern states. And, you know, it's a sport to go hog hunting. But they are becoming a nuisance. And if they spread out to other states, especially in the Midwest, we're going to have some issues majorly, because those things are pretty destructive. Now, does anybody know what the gestation length is of a pig, of a sow? Do you know what a sow is? Let's do some basic terminology with hogs. What's a sow? S-O-W. Okay, it's a mature female hog. Now, usually the term swine refers to hogs, pigs. Bovine refers to cattle. Ovine refers to sheep. And equine refers to horses and asses and mules. So, swine, a sow is a mature female pig. What's a boar? B-O-A-R.
It's a male hog that is able to reproduce.
Okay, so let's shorten that up a minute, Megan, to an intact male hog. Okay, intact. Now, what's a barrel? A bar, we say bar here. Some people say barrows. We always just say a bar. It's B-A-R-R-O-W. Spelled like barrow, but people say bars.
But I think here they use more barrow.
What's that?
I think that they use the term barrow here instead of bar.
Okay. Well, here in the hills of the Appalachian Mountains, everybody says bars, but I think officially it's probably barrows. So what is that? Anybody know? Okay, a castrated male hog. What's a gilt?
An immature female pig.
Okay, you're both right. Immature female. What's a shoat? S-H-O-A-T. What's a gilt? What's a shoat? I stumped you, didn't I? Oh.
I was comparing.
They're pigs about 30 to 60 pounds. They've been weaned, and they're going. It's a stage of their life when they're about 30 to 60 pounds, somewhere around that time frame. That weight. They call them shoats. So if you're ever looking in the classified ads or the bargain finders, and somebody's advertising shoats for sale, that's what they are. People buy those young pigs and throw them in their backyard and feed them, and then they slaughter them or barbecue them. They slaughter them, eat them. Okay. As I said, pigs they'll eat meat, they'll eat plant products, and they'll eat meat products. What's another term for an animal that can eat meat and plant?
Omnivorous.
Omnivores. Okay. What's the term for animals that just eat meat? Carnivore. And the term for animals that just eat plant products? Herbivores. Okay. So pigs are omnivores. They're omnivores, and they have their digestion system. They have a simple stomach. It's not compartmentalized like ruminants. In fact, their digestive system is very similar to our digestive system. It's so similar, in fact, that there's a lot of parts that are from pigs that are used in people to replace valves and things like that in their digestive system. Insulin for diabetes, for diabetics, used to come from pigs. So their digestive system is very similar to ours. So they use them a lot in medicine, people medicine, and parts from pigs in people. Now, what do you think the essential nutrients are for pigs? They going to be any different than cattle and horses? No, they're not. Because we know all animals require what nutrients? Energy?
Protein.
Come on, you just had this on an exam the other day. Protein, vitamins, minerals,
And electric
and water,
water.
right? Now, with pigs, we're going to look at energy just a little bit different. Okay, we're going to break energy down into two components for pigs. And what are those? What two components can make up energy? Carbohydrates, right? We get that from grains, and fats. So pigs have certain essential fats that they have to have in their diet. So we got to make sure we meet those requirements. Now, we talked when we were back at the beginning of the semester. We were talking a little bit about the pork industry. It's changing. It's changed drastically since I've been in college. It used to be, farmers that raised pigs and they'd sell them. And there were a lot of people that had pigs. And I guess in the 80s, maybe in the 70s, the health people were saying that fat is bad and that we need to go more to a low-fat diet. And hogs traditionally were raised for fat, or were meant to be fat. If you think about our pioneers and the settlers of this country, they did not have margarine or Crisco. They had, they depended on butter, they depended on lard, and so they fed those hogs to where they had a whole lot of fat on them. I mean, they'd slaughter hogs 6, 7, 800, and they bred hogs to be fat, and they would trim all that fat off and cook that lard down, or cook that fat down, and make lard. It's called rendering lard. And they used lard for cooking. They used lard for medicinal purposes. They used lard for everything. So they used it for everything coming and going. And about in the 70s, things started to change. The industry wanted a leaner type hog. And so they basically quit buying fat fish and forced the producers to raise lean lean hogs. And so they're still going toward a lean hog with just enough fat to give it flavor to keep it tender. One rapid growing hog. They've made a lot of progress in this area. The pork in the United States integrated. Used to be a lot of farmers raised their own pigs and they sold them, and those hogs were slaughtered. Now what we have is more what the book calls an industrial operation or industrial model. The movie Food Inc. calls it industrial farming. I don't like that term personally because it's not a factory. It's not factory farming. What it is, you have a company like Tyson Foods or Murphy Brown, or down there in North Carolina, Murphy. They're a big corporation, and they own the pig. Then they contract with individual farmers to raise pigs. And so these individual farmers, they supply the building, they supply the labor, and the company provides the feed and provides medicines, provides support, nutritional support, people, and they're experts, and they provide. And so it's an additional source of income for farmers that are willing to do this. To raise pigs under those conditions. So things have changed, and I just don't like how the movies and the news and stuff calls it factory farming, because it's still individual farmers doing and getting paid to raise pigs, to raise pork. It's a very efficient industry. Today's hog operations are totally enclosed. A lot of mechanical parts in there, between the water feeders, the manure handling, state-of-the-art innovation, and it's all based on science and how it's do a lot of studies on management of pigs and what pigs like and how to keep them happy. And that's what these buildings are based on. It's all science. Studied and built, designed according to what they find in those experiments. The pork industry has been a lot like the dairy industry. Rapid progress in their product over the last 40 years. And the number of farms that are raising pork or raising pigs have decreased. But the average inventory per farm has increased. So instead of a bunch of farmers having 10, 15 sows, a lot of those people don't exist. We're talking people that have thousands of sows. The farm I worked on in Wilmington had 5,000. And so it's a pretty big operation. What do you think is the number one pork producing state? Yeah, it's in the Corn Belt. So which one, what states in the Corn Belt you think are the top producing states? Not all of them. Most of them are. What state you think's the number one hog producing state of the country? Come on, guys. Ozark. Is that in Arkansas? Arkansas is not right, but you're getting close. You're getting close. That's because you're raising. You an Arkansas Razorback fan? Is that what you said? Okay.
Dwayne, can you adjust your mic a little bit? It's broken, your audio.
Okay, it's a good guess. Come on, guys. What's some what state you think's the big state, big pork production state? Give me some feedback. Make a guess. It's not Arkansas, so you got 49 states to guess from now. Definitely not Hawaii.
Kansas.
Okay, Kansas. It's getting close. You're in the general vicinity. They're more known for cattle than they are pigs, but there's a lot of pigs in Kansas, but they're not quite in the top 5. Indiana is number 5. Last year, Indiana was number 5.
Iowa?
Iowa, number 1. Okay, what other state? What's another I state?
Illinois?
Illinois. Iowa, Illinois, Indiana. The I states are your big pork producing states. Now I'm going to throw something at you guys. You're going to think I'm crazy. The number 2 pork producing state is North Carolina, our neighbor to the south. Lot of pigs down there. Rice? No. They feed them corn. I don't know. Why do you ask that? That's kind of why the pork industry is settled in the Corn Belt, because of the shipping cost. There's a lot of grain grown in North Carolina. There's a lot of grain grown in Virginia. And so, it's not being shipped that far. I don't know if they bring it out of the Midwest or not. I mean, there's a lot of grain grown down there in North Carolina. So I don't know how far they ship it. I know when I was there, this guy I know, he was a buyer. He bought feed from Murphy, and he had ordered 6 or 7 shiploads of corn from South America to be brought up on boat and unloaded there in the port in Wilmington. It was cheaper than buying it in the United States. So they were shipping it in from South America. So anyway, North Carolina's number 2. Minnesota, believe it or not, is number 3. A lot of pigs up there in Minnesota. And similar to the dairy industry, we've talked about how the dairy cows have increased production over the last 40 years. Same thing with the hog industry. Sows are producing more babies. We've increased annual production of the sow per sow has increased at the rate of 3.5% since 1960. So we're weaning more live pigs from those sows today than we did in 1960s. And pork production has increased 1.5% every year for the last 75 years. So it's a growing industry. Now, if you like pigs, guys, there's a lot of job opportunities in the swine industry. Now, Murphy down there in North Carolina, they have a management trainee program, and if you'll commit a couple years to them for their management trainee program, they'll train you, and then they'll give you a house, a hog house, if you want to raise the fat pigs or, take in those shoats and raise them to the slaughter weight, or if you want to do sows and deliver babies, whatever your specialty is or whatever your interest is, they'll train you for that for 2 years, and then they'll turn over an operation to you for several houses to you to manage. So there's some good money in there. They usually pay a pretty big signing bonus along with the salary, good benefits. So if you like pigs, there's some opportunities there for you in that route to go. And one of the things that's made the pork industry grow so rapidly the last several years is the export markets. We export a lot of pork. And even today, we're very competitive, and we still export a whole lot of pork. Now, we talked about a little bit about today's pork production in the United States. It's a total confinement system. And I showed you pictures of some hog houses earlier in the semester, how they're, total confinement, and we showed you the pictures of the lagoons and things like that. That's how they're raised typically in the United States today. The environment is controlled, it's constant, and it's very intensive. But it's got its paybacks. We've got better marketing opportunities. We've cut down a lot on diseases from wildlife and environmental stress, such as heat stress and cold stress, because we can regulate the temperatures inside those houses. But it does cost a lot of money, and it takes some specialized labor. But it's a good deal. But just because that's the way they're raised in the United States today, doesn't mean that's the way they have to be raised. If you wanted to have some pigs of your own, you can have a very low investment type outfit. You can raise them outdoors, and you can raise pigs for custom slaughter or however you want to do it, and you don't have to get that fancy. They're not hard. They're not too bad to raise. You do have to have good fence. Pigs like to root. They like to get their nose down in the dirt and root. And they will root under fences. They'll root up wire fences. They're a very, very destructive animal. You think horses are hard on fences? They're nothing compared to pigs. What's that? You can put nose rings in their nose and prevent them from rooting. Um, that used to be very popular thing to do when they're kept outside. And they do create mud holes. Pigs cannot sweat, and so they'll dig around in the dirt and make a hole, and when it rains, it fills up, and then they'll go waller in the mud to cool off. So if you do decide to have pigs, you do need to have some way for them to cool themselves, a misting system, fans, something. Uh, and definitely you got to have shade. So they can overheat and die in no time. Um, so, you know, you can have smaller facilities. The things you got to worry about when, depending on the numbers that you raise, are environmental regulations, and um, you got to make sure everything's all right with that when you get a large number of animals. But if I'm not mistaken, Virginia has a moratorium on hog operations. They're not allowing any new hog operations to be built. Uh, the big ones. But you can still raise hogs on your farm. That's not an issue. It's just over a certain number of pigs. Now, in today's hog production, what we kind of look at, or what they strive for, is a terminal cross. And what that means is they'll use typically about 4 breeds. Sometimes they'll have more than that in there, 4 or 5 different breeds of hogs. And they'll have their end product is meat. They want to raise hogs that will grow fast, that will be lean, and have good carcass traits. So those are selections they look for. So they will have 3 or 4 different, 4 or 5 different breeds in market hogs, and everything goes to market, males and females, from these crosses, this terminal cross. And so what they've done, they have developed a couple of lines. They have of pigs that are great mothers. Okay, maternal lines, Yorkshires, land races. They're great mothers. Yorkshires are known for their mothering ability. It's called the mother hog because they're just great mothers. Big old white pigs. Their ears are erect. You can look at pictures of them in the book. But they're known for their mothering ability. Land races make mothers. They're a very long pig, very long-bodied, and there's some other breeds out there. So they'll use 2 or 3 different breeds of pigs for the mother line, to continue to raise pigs for production. And then they have a terminal line, a sire line. And the sire line, or the terminal line, are lines selected for growth, efficiency, muscle content, meat quality traits. Some of these breeds are going to be like the Hampshires, the Durocs, and so they'll take these a boar from the terminal line, mate it to a sow from the maternal line, and those are your market hogs. Does that make sense? Y'all understand what I'm saying, or you lost? Are y'all paying attention to what I'm saying? Can y'all talk?
No.
Come on, guys. I don't want to put you guys to sleep. Speak. Give me some feedback. Okay. What are some major hog breeds? What'd you say? Hampshires?
Yorkshires, Landrace,
Berkshire? Landrace?
Berkshire,
Duroc?
Duroc, Poland China, and a Spot.
Okay. And don't forget Chester Whites and Yorkshires. Okay. Now, typically, the white breeds of hogs that are white are known as tend to be a mothering type breed, like your your Yorkshires and your Chester Whites and the Landrace. And the hogs that are dark in color tend to be heavier muscle, like the Hampshires, the Durocs, and the Spots. Now, the Berkshire and the Poland China, and there's another breed it's called Tamworth. Those breeds are older breeds, and they were selected for fat, so they tend to be a fatty type hog. Again, that's from those pioneer early settlers days where they needed all that fat to render lard. But you don't see too much. You don't see too much of the Tamworths in modern production because they're pretty fat. They're a pretty fat pig. You'll see those as a specialty. You know, a farmer raising the Tamworths to sell at a special, a niche market type deal. And the same thing with the Berkshires. You still see some Poland Chinas in there, but most of them you're going to see the Durocs, the Hamps, and the Spots for those sire lines. Okay. Moving on to the different phases of the pork industry. You remember how the beef industry has the different phases from you have the purebred breeders, the commercial cow-calf operators, the stockers, the feedlots. The pork industry is very similar. They have a breeding, gestation, and farrowing phase. Now, what this phase is of the industry, the producing females, the ones that are old enough to have litters or to be bred, they go in there. The producer just breeds the hogs, or he'll breed those sows. He'll wean those pigs. Okay, it's basically called a farrowing operation, and all the sows are bred, and he farrows them out. Farrowing is a process of giving birth. Okay, so it's a farrowing operation. They get the females bred, and they breed, and they farrow out those sows. When those pigs are old enough to be weaned, and they usually wean them. Most farms wean them around 21 days. Some wean as early as 14 days. Some go up to 28 days. It just depends. Most of them wean at around 21 days. And when those pigs are weaned at 21 days, they then go to what's called a nursery. And at that nursery, they're raised to they get about 40 pounds. Okay. These weaned pigs are very fragile. You usually have to have heat lamps on them for a while. You got to keep that temperature constant for them. They'll get sick and die fairly easy. So when they get about 50 pounds, 40, 50 pounds, 40 to 60 pounds, and that's going to be about 8 to 10 weeks of age, okay? They're going to be about two and a half months of age. They then go to what's called a finishing unit. And the finishing unit, they take those 40 to 60 pound pigs, those shoats, and they put them in a finishing house, and they'll be fed different rations. They'll be fed a growing ration, and then that will they'll get them up to about 100, a little bit over 100 pounds. And then they'll change that ration a little bit, and feed that a little bit. Then they'll be on what's called a finishing ration. And when that hog weighs about 270 pounds, then it goes to slaughter. Now, you can have, depending on what you like to do and stuff, these phases can interchange. You can have more than one phase. The farm I worked on in Wilmington, it was a farrowing unit. They had 5,000 sows that they farrowed. Big place. Okay. I think we were about 9. Yes. That's a lot of pigs. I think theirs averaged about 9 on their farm. But they had a farrowing unit, and they also had a finishing unit. So we did not do the nursery. All the pigs at weaning time were sent to a nursery, and then we would get about every 6 months, we would send, it takes about 6 months to get those pigs large enough to be slaughtered, about 260 pounds. And so about every 6 months, we would get about 1,200 of those 40 to 60 pound pigs in, and we'd keep them about 6 months, get them 260, 270 pounds, and ship them out for slaughter, and then disinfect everything, wash it all down, and then get another group in. In today's operations, it's called an all-in, all-out deal for finishing. So you will get these finishing operators. All the pigs come in at one time. They're fed. When they reach weight, they're shipped out, and then you have to clean and disinfect. I mean, it's clean enough where you can get off the floor, guys. Not lying. We take we take those in there and soak everything down. We just get everything with plastic bags and stuff. hose everything down, and then we come in with these very high-powered pressure washers, pressure wash everything. And if it didn't come up, you took a scraper and scraped it off. All the feed bins, the fences in between the pens, it was clean. And once you power washed it, then you came in there with the disinfectant and you disinfected the whole, you foamed it all up. I mean, it's cleaner than your kitchen counter when we were done. And then you came in there and you power washed it again. And then you fixed the floors, you fixed the pins, you did whatever needed to be done before the next group of pigs came. And it's the same thing with the farrowing unit. You'd have a group of sows that go in to the farrowing crates, and they farrow, and they're there for 21 days when those pigs are weaned. They've moved out of the farrowing crate. The farrowing unit where those crates were disinfected, and another group came in. It was all in, all out. So we had about three or four different rooms that we actually farrowed those sows in. So there was always a group rotating out and another group coming in. It was the scheduling was very tight. One of the issues with these large operations is manure. When you have a lot of animals, you have a lot of crap. It's that simple. And that poses environmental issues. It could, if it's not handled properly, it could be considered a pollutant. And you can pollute streams, you can pollute the groundwater, you can pollute, you can cause some issues if it's not handled properly. So we had lagoons, and I think I showed you some pictures, big old ponds that held all this hog manure, and we tested that. We would take samples and send it off for nutrient analysis to figure out the nutrients in that manure. And we did the same thing with the soils on our fields. And then we would apply that manure to our fields according to the soil. And we had a lot of equipment in order to get it done. Very expensive. So it was a highly regulated deal with that, and we could get inspected at any time. The goal every year, right now it's hurricane season. We got a hurricane bearing down on us. It's supposed to get up, maybe even, well, it's bearing down on the United States, not us personally, but Hurricane Matthew, and Wilmington area is supposed to get hit, or they're predicting it is going to get a lot of rain. And yep, and that's where I was at on this hog farm. And if they get the rain predicted, those lagoons can flood, and it could cause some issues. So our goal every year, before September, we wanted those lagoons completely empty. So I did a lot of, forgive my terminology, just spreading crap. I did a lot of that down there, just trying to empty those lagoons out. Very boring task, but it wasn't hard. But anyway, it can cause problems. You do have to, it's a very highly regulated deal. We could get inspectors to just show up anytime. We had to be really careful with everything we did. Several laws governing that stuff. But if it's done properly, it's okay. And we, the fines that are levied on these producers are outrageous. It'll put you out of business. So these farmers try to do everything properly. So anyway, we talked about, the modern day pig production, how the companies contract with individual farmers to grow these pigs. In looking at the future of the pork industry, right now the trend is to get bigger farms. That's probably going to continue as technology continues. When we get new technology, it's expensive to begin with, but the longer it's out there, the cheaper it gets. But there's these economies of scale. When you're investing a lot of money in buildings and manure handling facilities, you're going to try to utilize that to the maximum. So they're probably, the trend's going to continue for larger farms, very modern facilities. As I said, the manure is always going to be an issue. And the other thing that's going to be an issue is going to be people. As urban sprawl happens, and people start living closer to pig farms. I mean, I don't know about you guys or what you guys think. Pigs smell to me. They have an odor. Some people call it the smell of money. Some people says it stinks. It's all what it is. It's your opinion of it. People think cattle stink. I think that's the smell of money. But people from cities do not like the smells in the country, whether it's cattle or pig. So that will continue to be an issue in agriculture. Any questions regarding chapter 8? All right. Let me ask you some questions. What countries do you think are the top pork producing countries? What country do you think raises the most pigs in the world? Think it's the United States? You think we raise the most? You think we're the top dog in hog production?
I think we might be in the top 5, but I don't think we're number 1.
I think you are correct. We're number 3. China is number 1. And the European Union is number 2. And then the United States is number 3. Now, we were talking about the top 5 states of hog production. Where do you think Virginia comes in?
Third.
Okay, we're in the top 20. You're right. So we're somewhere between number 5 and number 20, right? So what's your guesses? Come on, guys, speak up. No, we're not that high up. Good guess, though. We're close. So now we've narrowed it down to be between 13 and 20. We're not 20. 13 and 19 now. Nope. Nope. We're number 18. Come on. Y'all need to participate. I'm trying to get you. Are y'all that broken-hearted that I'm leaving that you're just too sad to speak? Because it's like pulling teeth to get you guys to talk today. What's going on? Kaysville, where are you guys at? Y'all always have something to say. And Southside, Nina doesn't talk too much in South Boston. All right. Y'all don't want to talk at all. Do y'all have any questions regarding the pork industry? What's your favorite pork product?
Bacon.
Robert likes pickled pig's feet.
Pork loin. Bacon.
Bacon. That's tough to beat.
I don't eat pork at all.
Who said that? Okay.
Angel said that. I don't eat pork. I think it's just the only thing I eat is beef and chicken. I won't eat any other kind of meat.
Really? Well, today's pork, that you buy in the grocery store.
It's too salty.
Well, no. Don't salt it when you cook it.
It makes my blood pressure shoot sky high and it gives me nightmares. I won't eat it.
Okay.
If I eat pork, I have bad dreams, and I don't know what it is about it. I just can't eat it.
All right. You're afraid you're eating Miss Piggy, right? Is that it? You afraid you break Kermit's heart?
Well, actually, when I was younger, I wouldn't even eat beef and chicken. I've just now started that maybe about 3 years ago.
Well, I'm glad you're eating beef. That's a good deal for us. All right. I like bacon. I tell you what else I like. I like a good Boston butt or a picnic that's been smoked, and you have that pulled pork barbecue. Oh man, that's good stuff. How about y'all? Y'all like a good pork barbecue?
Yes. Can't pick
Yeah.
a favorite.
Good.
Can't pick a favorite.
Well, you like all of it.
I do.
There's not much about pork I don't like. I like a good ham. I like tenderloin. I like breakfast sausage. But anyway, guys, we're out of time. I will see you Tuesday. Y'all enjoy your labs this weekend, tomorrow. And for you guys out there in South Side and South Boston, I hope you don't get any damage from Matthew coming up the coast.
He won't be there.
We still.
Lab tomorrow, we're leaving front of the building.
What time?
8:30.
Are we going to be back by 12?
Hope so.
Okay.
That's our intention, probably back about 11:30. We're
The
going.
reason why I said it is because at 12 o'clock I have an appointment and I'm ready to get my car checked out.
That's okay.
I'm just hoping that we'll be back
Our
in time.
intention is to be back.
Okay.
I have a question. So the last day for this class will be October 13th, right?
The last time you come in here.
Yeah, the last time I come in here.
Yeah.
So what are we? Is it changing to an online class or what?
Well, you were late getting here. You.
Y'all weaning? Okay. Boy, it is, isn't it? And I tell you what makes that even nicer, is they're all the same age. They're bred, they calved early in the calving season, so those cows have plenty of time to recover before breeding season. And those calves should be heavier at weaning time because they came early. Well, it was a year old, wasn't it? Y'all didn't bring her into this year.
We brought her into work when her calf was about 6 weeks old.
Uh-huh.
When we weighed, found her, got that calf weighed from her, 750 pound calf. She weighed it off herself. Like, you had the right place and the right place. That cow weighed them off herself. It's come out a lot better. But that's the best looking calf we got.
Checking into the penthouse. The name's Hunter.
I don't have a Hunter.
But you emailed the confirmation to my watch.
Well, marketing handles emails. Oh, I have a Hanson.
I picked my room on your app.
We have so many apps. I do have a single on the ground floor, though, if you'd like, Mr. Hanson.
It's
I wish
Hunter.
I could fit my wife. Don't talk to me the way you talk. Come on. What's the deal? How come you're not talking? I'll find something else. You're not telling me anything.
I done heard they're evacuating South Carolina, North Carolina. Man done got shot. You hear that?
Uh-uh.
Shot at a evacuation point. Started fleeing from the top and shooting at him, so he got shot.
In Florida, I think it will be.
Jesus, willing to speak the truth when it's not popular.
You don't know me, but I paid to get this message on here to warn you. Maybe you've heard recently about new...
Alright, I don't know. Let's see. They're saying it may become a 5. It's supposed to strike the Florida coast Thursday night. It'll be the strongest Florida East Coast strike since Hurricane Andrew. It's now a Category 4 again. Yeah. This will be likely to be stronger than any hurricane in recent decades, including 2004 Charlie, Francis, and Janine, as well as Hurricane David in 1970. Widespread, extensive to devastating wind impacts will be felt. Airborne debris lofted by extreme winds will be capable of breaching structures. Golly dang. Take a piece of tin, it'll go through this wall. Unprotected windows and vehicles. Breaching structures, unprotected windows and vehicles. Effects such as these, ranging from the coast to well inland, have not been experienced in Central Florida in decades. Local winds. You have a beach house? Where's that? Yeah, look. You'll get hit. Under 19 miles per hour sustained wind. In the Bahamas. See, it looks like it's going to go all the way up the coast and get into Wilmington and then come back out. And if that thing wraps around and hits this place again, man alive. It could. Yeah. I do too. Doesn't look like we're going to get anything. Well, they're saying it's 60% chance rain Saturday. Right. Need a hard 2-day rain. %, Friday and Saturday. We need it. All right, meet me at the pumpkin patch there. Yeah, right across from the fort. I'll be there about 9:15, or I'll try to be there at 9. The lady said she'd meet us there about 9:15 to 9:30. Huh? We're gonna go to a pumpkin patch. Talk about pumpkins and agro-tourism. You can talk about planting the corn maze over there. Yeah. Well, it's going to be too dry to make silage out of it. You can pick it. How you find it? You don't even know how.
Yeah. I Google everything.
All right, what do I want to Google? Corn maze and tassel. Where you see that?
There's a cut.
Looks like it's bush. Oh, yeah, they're cutting it out right there. Yeah, it's crab. Yeah, because the fort handles. What's wild?